So here we are at a sheep, lamb and beef finishing block in the Waipa Basin, just in between Carterton and Masterton. And first up, I'm going to show you how to drench your lambs correctly. So first things first, we had to draft them off to the right weight. So these are about 28 to 30 kg. So we've calibrated our drench gun for 1 mil to every 10 kilos. So now I'll show you the technique of drenching. So you want to straddle the sheep, make sure it's nice and calm. Just hold it under the chin. Use the whole drench gun, put it in the throat and drench it. Yeah. And then give it a rattle.
Why are you rattling it?
So that I know that I've done it and it won't get double dosed.
Daddy.
So another dirty job on the farm is crutching. Crutching is just to clean up around their bum, just a few blows, help prevent fire strike and make them look presentable. So first things first, you want to make sure your gear is set up properly. So I'll stand up, pull the cord. That's just so it doesn't lock up on me when I grab a sheep. So I'll crush on there. A big part of good shearing or good crutching is how you store your gear. So I'm going to talk to you about how you should store your combs and cutters and why it's important. And I'm going to also talk you through different comb types and about it. First off, I'll talk you through a few different types of combs. So here we have what is called a cover comb. The cover comb has little knobs which leave a bit of wool on the sheep so that they won't get too cold, or usually shear ewes with this in the winter time, or lambs. Here is a broad wool comb. It's an Accelerate, Heinegger Accelerate. Broad wool combs just have a bit thinner teeth and therefore the sticky kind of tough wool shearing sheep. Here we have a fine wool sheep. This has got really thick teeth or well-rounded teeth, so you're not going to cut them, and it just glides through the wool really easy. Here I've got a crutching comb. Crutching combs are just combs, old combs that have been worn right down. We use these because as a way that they can get reused, and they're really good when they're short because you can get right in and take the dags right off. Here is a merino comb. This is a Heinegger Freak. It is a merino comb as the teeth are really thin. Merinos are really sticky, so you don't want thick teeth like you have on the Supercharge, which is for fine wool sheep. As you can see, they're nice and well rounded, and these teeth are really thin, and this comb is specially suited to a merino. So all these combs have different jobs, and they each suit a special purpose. The next thing I'll talk about is cutters. So a shearer, you would usually buy 100 brand new cutters with a brand new handpiece. I've only got about 50 cutters and this was just to get me started. Yeah, cutters thin down as you go, so you've got to keep buying it, just like the combs. You can never have one for life. The best way to store cutters, if you're cheap and you're starting out on just a bit of wire, this will keep them from bending the tips and avoiding lockup. When you've got a bit more money and you're starting to shear professionally, you can get a cutter dispenser, and this just keeps them free of rust, free of dust, and won't bend tips. The way to store combs is I just put all my combs like this. I give them a good squirt of oil, and I keep them in an oily rag. This avoids rust build up and just keeps them for when you're ready to shear. If you're shearing every day, you would keep them in something like this, a comb pouch. This would just do the same job as an oily rag do, but you don't want to keep them in here for over 6 months, as they will rust. Nobody likes a rusty comb. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to correctly set up a handpiece for crutching or shearing. The first thing you want to do is select your comb for the sheep you're going to be shearing. I mainly shear fine wool sheep, so I have Supercharged, and I also use Quantums. These combs are both great for fine wool shearing. The first thing you want to do is get your comb onto the comb bed and adjust for where you're going to be shearing. I usually like to set mine parallel with the comb bed as a good rule. So I'll go ahead and tighten these screws up loosely. Only do them loosely because you'll need to adjust it later. So do those up loosely. Next you want to undo your tension knob so you can slip your cutter in there nice and easily. So put your cutter in, and then you put it in to the chicken feet. Make sure it's sitting in there nicely, and adjust your tension knob up just a little bit. You then want to use your thumb like that, just to move it. Put your thumb in the cogs and just move it so it glides across nicely. You then want to make it so that the middle tooth, so that one there, that tooth, and you want to make sure the comb is the same distance, the cutter is the same distance either side of it. So I can see that my comb just needs to go slightly that way. So what I do is I just grab my screwdriver. I don't currently have my screwdriver on me, so I'm just using my pocket knife. Just tap it across a little bit more. Tiny bit more. And there I have it perfectly the same distance of that tooth and that tooth of the cutter on either side of that tooth when I move it from side to side. The next thing you want to do is get a good amount of oil. What I like to do is, once I've got my comb on set up, I grab my cutter and I fill my cutter up with oil. I've got a rule, is each time the cutter passes over the comb, it's getting blunter, and the oil helps to save it from getting blunter faster. So I fill that up with oil. I'll have it on backwards. Now I have my cutter in there. Oh, doesn't matter for now. And then I will put oil across my comb and cutter again, over the tension sleeves, in my ball bearing, in this hole here, a little bit on my cogs, and down my furrow. Once you have your gear set up properly, you're away.